And then what was your second year like? I'm curious. Like we went from 9,000 to what? Like 9 million, 20 million?
Not that much, but
people in this industry, they think, that the Mercedes comes with the license. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So I just want to go through that little journey a little bit.
Sure. My second year was a lot better. It had that snowball effect that people talk about a lot. I figured out what I needed to do. I had experienced what I needed to do, and I just did more of it. I wasn't one of those agents that was always looking for this magic potion or something. I mean, I was hitting those phones every single day because that's what worked. No, I wasn't a professional, but something was working for me, and so that second year, I did probably 15 deals that second year. And then that third year was pretty similar. I mean, there was a little bit of increase. And then it got to a point where I had closed probably 60 deals total in my real estate career. And throughout my research, I would always read like these agents giving advice, and they're like, yeah, my business is off of referrals and referrals and referrals and referrals. And I realized that I had done all these transactions. I had become that transactional agent that was just looking for the next deal. But none of these people who I had worked with had ever sent me any type of business. And so that was another part of the business that I now had to learn, because I started thinking differently, as I got into production and as I was making money. I was like, okay, now I'm at a point where this has to turn into a business, or I'm going to be doing this same thing 50 years down the road. So my path in the business changed at that point. I got real heavy into past clients, into referral generation, things like that. Hired an assistant and hired my first buyer's agent. And so we were out there rocking and rolling and doing a lot of business together. Lost my first assistant, lost my first buyer's agent. Fired my first buyer's agent, lost my first assistant. But, then it was kind of like me starting over. But I learned so much during that journey to where it was easy for me to pick back up because I had a business. Fast forward to today. I mean, I have a thriving real estate team. We do average over 100 transactions year over year. I've had the opportunity to speak all across the country, out of the country. I've written a book. I've been featured in, pretty big nationwide magazines. This has given me an opportunity to really share my story, share my message, and coach and encourage other agents to, make it happen. But it's been a process, and this definitely didn't happen overnight for me. Looking back to when I got in, I never would have imagined things would look like this today. But, it was just step by step, a continuous motion of actions and elevating where things needed to be elevating, not just becoming, complacent, or not just falling into just a routine and just sticking into it, but always looking for, okay, how can I grow this? How can I grow this? How can I grow this bigger and bigger, bigger? And making sure that you're, you still remain that same person who you are, because that's important too. And yeah, I never forget my moments.
Yeah, and it all started when you try to rent an off-campus property.
Yeah,
you're doing over 100 transactions a year. Talking about the 100 transaction mark, I think that is a number that's really in the mind of a lot of people. Like a lot of people come to me and say, Chadi, I want to be a producer. And I don't know why they're stuck with that 100 transaction mark. But here's what I do know. I know that when people hear that number, they start paying attention to the person that's speaking about that number. So if you're watching this video, if you are listening to this podcast, I want you to pay very close attention, because right now, what I'm going to do is I am going to dive deep into some questions with Jason. He doesn't even know what questions I'm going to ask, to get some specifics from him on what it is that you can do immediately in your business to start seeing some kind of traction and some kind of movement in the upward direction. Okay, and the first question outside of that is the question that's on the mind of every single person right now, and then it's like, is the market going to shift? are we going to see a recession? Are we going to say this? My question to you, Chasten, is do you even care what's going to happen with the market?
No, I don't necessarily care what's going to happen with the market. I mean, I pay attention to it. It's my job to know, to be able to have these types of conversations. But I'm running a business here, and my business is going to run whether the market moves up, down, left, right, whatever. Now, what's important, since I am running a business, businesses and as business owners, we have to know how to shift. We have to know how to shift ourselves. And so I'm very aware of that. One thing that I'm super glad that I didn't do was just try to focus on one area of the business. I was so hungry for whatever I could get. I mean, I learned a lot about rentals, investment properties, residential, luxury, new construction. So it's like, I know all of that. Whenever a shift happens and when it happens, there's still going to be real estate transactions being done. Okay. Always people have to move, people have to buy, people have to sell. There's going to be real estate transactions done. But the real question is, how diversified are you to be able to sustain yourself in that type of shift? And so I'm very diversified in it. My team is as well, diverse in it. My team is as well. So we're not worried.
See, I love your answer. It's like, no, I really don't care if it's going to go sideways, upwards, downwards. It doesn't matter. I'm paying attention to what is happening, with the economy and all that good stuff. And I'll adapt and I'll shift and I'll make changes.